Hello, my name is Pamela Curley, and it is my honor to present to you the fourth of 8 different segments that we're sharing on behalf of MNRI, Reflex Integration for Stress and Post-Traumatic Stress Recovery. So it's going to be my honor today to share with you a process that we call embrace squeeze. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be talking about ways to find healing, to find growth, in order to recover from stress, in order to recover from post-traumatic stress. And we're going to be using touch as our modality today. And it's interesting because when we have been through a trauma or a stress, which can be a birth trauma, it could be an accident, it can be an illness, it can be an external environment, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. It can be an insult. It can be any sort of trauma that gets memorized in the body. And often in those cases, it's kind of hard to receive touch because it doesn't feel safe. So we're going to, interestingly enough, use touch to heal touch. And that will happen because of a very thought out, a very clear approach that we use to allow touch to move from danger, from protection, to have it move, on the other hand, into safety and confidence and comfort. So what I'd like to do first is to show you what I'm going to be working with, and then I'd like to go into details about what you have learned so that you understand why we do this. You understand how it helps and what the procedures are. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. The process that we're going to be using is actually called embrace squeeze. So embrace squeeze is simply a way to use the limbs. We're going to be using the top of our arm and the bottom segment of our leg. And we're going to be embracing these limbs. And let's go ahead and do it and experience it first. And then we'll come back and explore the reason behind this is so comforting and why it is so integrating for the body to experience this. So what I'll have you do first is just to take your hand and to embrace your arm, as shown in the picture there. And it's just a matter of embracing with your fingers apart. So I'm going to close so you can see. Okay, so I'm here. So you see my fingers are apart, and now I'm going to make a very rounded, here's my thumb. Okay, I'm going to make a very rounded squeeze, and I'm going to hold that and make it even more firm, tighter, a little bit stronger of a squeeze, until you can really feel the depth of the squeeze. And we're holding that for at least 7 seconds. Now that we've done that, I'm just going to let go of my squeeze and relax my hand, and I can feel my arm come back to its natural position again, return to neutral. So I'm going to also be showing you a few things to not do, because it would create the reverse outcome that we're looking for. It's very important that we not grab the arm. Do you see how my fingertips or my fingers are together now? And that it's very firm and they're very close together. That is a grab. And that will not create what we're looking for. This will actually alert the body to danger, and the body will want to pull away. So we're going to change how we're holding the hand. This is very important. We're going to change how we're holding the hand. I am going to be grasping with my whole palm. So I use the palm to grasp, And I use all of my fingers to grasp, and I use my thumb to grasp. And they're all giving an equal, rounded pressure. So the most important thing is that it's round also. The other thing that we do not want to do is this. This is a squash. This squashes the arm. That does not feel good either. So we don't want to do this, because it will create irritation for the body, and then it will move away from the sensory experience of touch. And it is because of experiences like that is part of the stress, part of the trauma. Grabbing is part of stress and trauma. Birth defects, birthing processes can be part of the trauma. Accidents can be part of the trauma. So what we're doing now is returning to a safe way to talk with the skin. So do you see I have my palm here, my fingers round out, my thumb is round. Be careful, don't use your thumb too much. Do you see how I pulled my thumb in there too much? Keep the thumb round. Everybody's round, okay? And the fingers are slightly apart. So now just embrace. And now a little bit stronger, and a little bit stronger, and a little bit stronger. Now, can you feel the depth of that embrace? Great. Now just relax your hand and feel everything relax. And now take a breath, and now move up the arm. So we're going to do this moving up the arm again. So we usually count to 7. So I'm going to count to 7 while I embrace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it got stronger and stronger. Now I am just going to let my embrace relax, and the arm will feel relaxed at the same time. So let the arm experience relaxation as well as the proprioception. Now come up one more time. And again, embrace, count at least to 7. Now, if you're working with developmental delays or with very severe trauma, you can hold longer. Holding longer and stronger lets the body find safety. So a minimum of 7 seconds. Do not rush this process. Okay, now relax the hand and wait. Great. Now we'll go to the other hand, other arm. Again, embrace. And what we're going to do is to hold it for a long time and be present. The most important thing you can do here is to be present and feel it. Don't be watching television, and don't be talking and doing all kinds of other stuff. Just feel that embrace. Now let go. Feel the relaxation. Okay, move up. Feel the embrace. 5, 6, 7. Relax the hands and feel the relaxation. Okay, one more. Below the elbow, embrace. So when you work with other people, very, very present with them. Think about what you're doing, even when you're doing it with yourself. Think about the experience of feeling that depth of perception. That's very important. Do not rush this. Now relax, and that's done. Oh, so notice how that feels. I'm going to go back to my slides now and show you how we'll do the same thing with the legs. So doing the same thing with the legs here. Go ahead and start. I've got another slide here. We'll go to this one. Okay, so start down at the ankle, like Elvin is doing here, and just embrace above the ankle. And with a very rounded posture, hold the lower leg. I'll just show this one here. So this is holding the leg, and so just hold above the ankle and hold that for 7 seconds with a rounded squeeze. All right, now move up to the middle of the leg, as is shown here, and hold that for 7 seconds. And just squeeze and embrace. And again, you make the pressure a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then relax the hand now and just pause. Now, on the third time, you can either come to the top of the leg and hold at the top of the leg, or you can come to the knee and hold at the knee. So whichever is most comfortable for you to do, go ahead and hold the third time. And embrace. Four, 5, 6, 7. Relax the hands and wait. Okay, now bring the other foot up and the other leg. So we'll do the same thing. So again, above the ankle, just do a nice embrace. And see how Elvin's thumb is even relaxed. He's not using his thumb real hard. He's just got a relaxed posture to his hands. His fingers are slightly apart. And just embrace increasing the pressure, increasing the depth of touch. And now relax your hands. And the body will feel that relaxation as your hands stay there, but the pressure is released. Now move to the middle of the leg. And repeat that one more time. Now the thing is, how many times do you do it on the leg? It depends on the size of the person. So as you're squeezing, I'll just talk here. With a baby, you'll just have one, because your hand covers their whole leg. With an adult, you can do 2 or 3 connections. So however much space you have, how much room you have. Relax your hands now and wait. Okay, so now move up to the third one. It's at the top of the leg or at the knee. So again, this is going to be just a way to experience this relaxation and to find that comfort that the body had lost. So let me explain to you, that is what you will be learning from this segment, from this class. And I would like to now explain to you why this works. I mean, that was very simple, but I want you to know it's also extremely profound, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint one more time. And there we go, boom. And here we are. Okay, so this time what I'd like to do is share with you a slide that shows different skin receptors that we have. So when we're working with this process, we're using one of 11 skin receptors that are the part of our body that will be the messenger, if you will. They will carry the information of a sensory stimulus from the point of touch, and it carries it up to the brain. So we have many messengers. They're called skin receptors. And so the skin receptor will be helping us to get this information. And they're located in different parts of the skin. As you can see here, some of them are very superficial. They're at the top of the skin, at the surface of the skin. Some of them are deeper in. The Ruffini corpuscles are in the middle there, the blue. And the Merkel is up at the top. The Vata Prachini is down at the bottom. The green is down at the bottom. So there are many receptors and messengers of touch, and they all have a purpose. They all will work for us when we are in stress. And the thing is that when we're in stress, they actually become messengers of danger, and they will protect us with memorizing the experience, with rehearsing the response to the experience. That then becomes a pattern of reaction of the brain. So we want to go in and re-educate this so that we are not repeating the patterns of reaction. What we want to do is reset. We want to reset the tactile system to work and to be functioning not from a place of danger, but from a place of safety. So to do this, we are going to use the skin. Now, here's something that I find to be very interesting. When the skin develops, when the whole body develops, when we are in utero, and we're one cell, and we start to divide, and we start to divide, and we start to divide. In that division, there becomes 3 layers of development. One is the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. Now, the thing that I really want to point out here is that the ectoderm is the same source of development that the nervous system and the nervous system and the skin all come from the same source, from the same germ cell. Then the mesoderm will make the muscles and the skeletons, and the endoderms will make the different organs and glands. But let's look at this one layer of development that creates the skin. And you guys, here's the important thing. It's creating the skin, but it's also creating the nervous system, it's creating the brain, it's creating the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, the enteric nervous system, which is your gut, your autonomic nervous system, which helps you breathe. All of these things are from the same source as these nervous systems, and the brain comes also the skin. What this means is this: when we work with the skin, we're actually working with the nervous system. We're actually talking to the nervous system. And this is why work with the skin is so very important. We all know the importance of touch. If there's been some research that years ago when in orphanages where children did not receive any touch, their ability to thrive was very limited, because touch is critical for healing, is critical for growth, it's critical for development. It actually even helps growth hormones so that we literally grow because of touch. Now, as I was saying, when we have a traumatic experience, the body will activate these skin receptors to figure out, oh my gosh, there's something happening here. I just stepped on a stone. Ouch, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. I must get off of the stone quickly. So this is there to protect us. And what happens is if there's trauma that is very strong, the receptors become hypervigilant, if you will. They work too hard. They work too over patterning. So, and again, that will send a message to the brain of, okay, here's danger, get out of the way, move away, and do it this way, and react, and I'm going to give you pain, so you make sure to get out of the way. Now, that's good when you're having danger, but if there's no danger, which I don't see or feel here right now, there's no danger in this room right now, I need to let my skin feel the safety of being in a place that there is no danger, okay? So we have to re-educate the skin through the skin. We have to educate tactile through using tactile. So what I'd like to do now is share with you why some things are perceived as pain. And the reason is it depends on what pathway the sensory stimulus goes up. So if, for example, let me get my helper here. Okay, so I have a helper here to do this with me. Okay, so if, for example, I have, if, for example, she's got a sensitive foot, and I touch her foot, and the foot is extremely sensitive and does not like to be touched. Okay, so what happens is, that was her foot on this side. What will happen is that sensory stimulus will be sent to the opposite side. It goes up to the spine, it crosses over at the base of the spine, and will go up the opposite side of the spine, through the brainstem, through the middle part of the brain called the diencephalon. In here is something very important called the thalamus, which is a filter that will let me know if it's dangerous or not. So this part of the brain will filter, is this danger? Then that information is set up here to the top of the brain for memorization and processing. So if you have an experience of pain and discomfort, then what will happen is that sensory stimulus will come to the opposite side of the spine, up, processed, interpreted, and memorized. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if I use a different approach, if I use embrace, if I take this foot and I embrace this foot very firmly, and I just support it, and I embrace the foot with my whole hand, and I hold it for quite some time. And it's rounded, and it's nice and firm, and I hold it for time and depth, okay? What is going to happen with this information? This information will actually come and go up the same side. Now it's going to come up along the spine of the same side. It then will cross over at the brainstem. It comes up here to the thalamus for interpretation. Is this danger? And actually, because it came up this other highway, it will be interpreted as comfort, not danger. That information is sent to the cortex to be held and memorized. Okay? So this just to summarize again, when I come up and I come up the opposite side, there's a name for that. It's called a nociceptor. It's a highway. It's a pathway that tactile information goes up. So if it comes up this highway, when it gets to this part of the brain for interpretation, the brain will say, that's danger. That hurts, pain, ow, 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 ow. That's what this pathway does. And then it gets memorized here. On the other hand, when I send it up the same side, the pathway is different. It's a different highway. It crosses over here in the brainstem, comes up for interpretation, and the interpretation now is this is safe, it's comfortable, and then that is memorized. So that's why our work works. That's why we're changing the interpretation of pain, and that's very important.
Yes. Goes the straight hair, apparently.
So Pat, it looks like somebody's.
Sorry, I'm a slow walker. I walk really fast. So I do too usually. Imagine how much.
There we go. Thank you. Okay. All right. So that is that. So now, I hope that understands. I hope you understand why that works and that we're getting those results. So what I'd like to do now is let's look at a couple things here. Number one is that this work is done with children and with adults. And sometimes they don't like this. It's not an automatic love it sort of experience. Some people are so sensitive and the pain is so deep. Pain can be physical, mental, or emotional, but it is uncomfortable touch. So if that's the case, what are we going to do? How can we work through this challenge of the children and adults who don't want to be touched, yet that's what they need more than anything? So I'm going to give you just some hints of things to do. One will be to have the person work on themselves. So that's why we do this self embrace squeeze first, because that's very safe. That's very safe. And then it could be that I have a friend here to help me. Let me just have you come over, just bring your chair over. Okay. It could be that she is going to be just this is Catalina, by the way. Okay. So I'm going to have her do the embrace squeeze. Okay. If you want to come back a little bit even more this way. There we go. There it is. Good. So she's doing that by herself. Now, it could be that I could even come in at some point when it's safe for her. I could come in and squeeze with her. And then we're going to move up. And then I'm going to squeeze with her. But she's the one doing the squeezing. And it's really quite amazing that when it's not safe for somebody else to do the touch, if they do the touch themselves, it is safe. Okay. So that's a good thing to know. Now, another thing that we can do is if you just want to make mental thoughts of these things, if I'm thinking of children with developmental challenges and children on the autistic spectrum, people who, adults who have had traumatic illnesses or accidents. The thing is that we want to activate another skin receptor called Meissner. And Meissner is actually, it enjoys the vibration that we feel when we're in a car. So if you put the person in a car, and then as you're driving along, you can work with their arms here as the car is just driving along. So I can just do an embrace squeeze. My fingers are apart here. And I can just hold that as the car is driving along. That will be very comforting. That will be very comforting. Don't do this if you're the driver, okay? Very important not to do that. Okay. Also, another good way to show the safety of touch is to do the work in water. So it could be a bathtub, ideally a swimming pool, and just to do this embrace squeeze in a swimming pool and to hold it for a long period of time and to hold it with depth and presence. And then another idea to use is to do the work. These are three concepts. This is kind of a summary of all that we've done. Okay, so when I'm holding with again depth. And I'm holding, if you want to maybe just stand up with me, or we'll see here. Yeah, that way they can see your hand. Okay. So what I'd like to do here is show you how I'm going to do this with somebody for them now. So the ideal way is to put my hands like this so that, that my fingers are on the heel of my hand and on both sides, and my fingers are hidden there. Do you see how round that is? So if you want to write down the principles of things that are very important, one is that the hand is circular and that the fingers are round and have a lot of zone. So I'm using all of my palm, I'm using all of my fingers, I'm using the rounded part of my thumb. So everybody's round and I'm using all of that area. That makes it safe. So area, depth, time is very, very important. Put all of those qualities together and end it by being completely present with the person. So if I'm here, I just put one hand underneath. I catch those fingers with my palm. I hide those fingers. I bring the other fingers here. I hide those fingers. I now have round, okay? And so now I'm going to just squeeze, and then I squeeze a little bit more, and a little bit more, and then I relax and wait a bit so they can feel the relaxation. Does the relaxation feel good? Yeah. Then I'm going to move up and do the same thing again. And so it's a matter of catching my fingers here on the heel of my hand. These fingers come here, they're on the heel of my hand. And see, my thumbs are not really working at all, just my hand. And I add a little bit more depth, a little bit more depth, and a little bit more depth. Now, there's sometimes that you'll want to hold this for a very long time. That was a minimum of 7 seconds. And the same thing would apply to working with the leg as well. One time I worked with somebody, and she had just been injured by somebody, and so she was telling me the story of her injury. I just walked up and took her arm and started doing this with her, but I held them for quite a long time, and I worked with them for quite a long time. And then it was quite amazing because she seemed to calm down. We always want people to hear our stories. That's very important. And she started feeling more relaxed inside, and she started feeling better. And then I was being called to the other side of the room. So I started to leave, and she said, "No, you come back here and keep doing that." It made so much difference for her to help recover immediately from the trauma. So it's a wonderful thing to use as soon as possible, but it can also be used 30 years later. I worked with a gentleman once who had been in an earthquake, and for 25 years, his body, the moment that he felt the slightest vibration, he thought it was an earthquake, and he would go into protection again, because that was the pattern of protection that his brain had come up with and had memorized it and rehearsed it and expected the same outcome just from a little vibration. So I worked with him, and is it okay if simple is profound? One session I did with him with our whole techniques of working with the skin, and his fear and reaction of the earthquake never came back again. So the body is very willing to re-educate, to let go of old stories, to let go of old trauma. And this is just an absolutely wonderful way to do it. Now, there's one other thing I'd like to share as well, and then we'll go for questions. What I'd like to just show you is also sometimes when somebody is having trauma, it is our natural tendency to come and put our arms here at the shoulders. So when you're here, if you want to just squeeze the shoulders, and just to do that, when you're present like this with somebody, it creates a sense of safety, because it creates what we call a horizontal line, and her shirt is perfect. If I have stability in my core, I will feel stability in my body. So this is another very nice place to also do the embrace squeeze. But you know what? We do this automatically. You didn't need to be told that. We all do that. I just want to tell you why you were doing it. Okay? All right. So what questions do we have?
You take a look. And feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll answer them. There's 2 that are sitting there. Can we hold any body part, self-touch, to heal?
We work with the limbs. The
limbs. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the other one that was pertaining to I think the second exercise, how do you hold your bottom hand on your leg?
Okay. It depends on how Oh, I just lost both of my presentations. You'll see it when you look at the video on this again. And I don't know how to do this. Bum. Can you hold this so you can see my leg?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So here's my leg. And if we can get a closer shot here. Okay. There's my leg. And so I'm just going to bring this hand underneath and this hand on top. This is okay. Ideal when I'm working with somebody else, I will use this hand posture because I'm doing it. But if I'm doing it for myself, this is automatically round and this is automatically round. And that will suffice. Just be real careful that it doesn't become this, though. Don't let it do that. Okay?
Okay, the next one is,
Thank you.
have you used this intervention with children or adults with perinatal alcohol exposure, fetal alcohol syndrome, FASD?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the thing that's wonderful about working with the nervous system is that it works with every challenge. The common denominator to all things is the nervous system and the functioning of it, and the orchestration of how it just governs everything. And those challenges from fetal alcohol, challenges from genetic codes, challenges from hormonal imbalances, all of those things are connected with the nervous system, and that's what we're working at. It's the most fundamental, basic level of our body and functioning. So yes, it is a very good thing to use with that. Now, I also want to say this. If in working with children, for example, who have developmental challenges and tactile challenges, one of the things that we have to do, because they don't want to be touched, is we show the parents how to do what you have just learned, how to do this while they're asleep. And so if the nervous system can feel it while they're asleep, and old patterns of expectation, psychological expectations are not in play now, then the system will calm down. And then again, then I would move from doing it, parents doing it when they're asleep, and then move to a car or water. And then eventually you can, and then have them do it themselves. And then eventually you're in with the gift of touch. It's a gift that we have to open.
Okay, next one is, do we need to touch the skin when we do it, or is it possible or more effective to do it through clothes?
It's fine on clothes. We are not massage therapists, and we get absolutely perfect results on clothes. And truth be known, it's usually easier even to do the work on clothes, because sometimes if a person's hands are sticky, then it doesn't feel very good. So clothes are wonderful. We love them. Yeah.
Have you used this with generalized anxiety disorder or benign essential tremors?
Yes. Anything. Yes.
Okay. And then there's a few questions. It's the same person who was asking about how do you hold your bottom hand on your leg. What do you do with your thumb on the bottom hand?
It's just relaxed. Oh, it can come around. It can come around. Just make a circle. Don't make it hard. Just make a circle is the most important thing. And make sure that if you are using the whole hand, you can use it right here. I'm using the whole hand. See, I'm using my thumb right there. So that's fine. The most important thing is that the thumb is not working harder than anybody else. It needs to work equal. It needs to be a fair player.
Okay, that was all the questions.
Okay.
Oh, someone's asking how to watch the recording. It'll be sent out in an email, but I can also post a link real quick of where it will be later this evening.
Okay. Very good.
And someone says, when your body experiences the new pathway, which is interpreted as safe touch, does the pain that is coming up through another pathway and is interpreted as dangerous just get canceled out?
You can only take one road. You've only got one car. So you can only take one road, and it's going to have to pick the highway. And what happens is, and I've seen this happen over and over again, people who have adults who have very sensitive feet, and they tell me nobody touches my feet. I just, okay, is it okay if I just hold your foot like this? Now, in terms of the question of where you can work, you can hold the foot and just come and hold the foot with both hands. That's very nice as well. And just embrace the foot with both hands, but keep it firm, keep it strong, and wait. And sometimes I've waited for a couple minutes, and they'll start calming down, and then pretty soon I'll say, well, how does that feel? And they say, oh, that feels so nice. Oh, I like it. And before, you couldn't even talk about touching their foot. So just hold it as long as you need to create that safety by going up the different highway. And then with the hand, you can also hold the hand just by holding right here. Holding the whole thumb here is a very nice, safe thing. And you can hold the other half of the hand as I'm holding the hand. Just embrace the hand and hold the hand firmly in whatever form you like. But that usually creates safety, especially if you just hold just the thumb. It's very safe. So if somebody is in stress, I will frequently come and just kind of hold their hand here, just to create a sense of safety. Feel good? Okay.
I think that's, hold on, here's another one. I believe you said this is for use on limbs. I'm curious, when treating benign essential tremor in the head, is it possible and helpful to do this on the back, on the neck and the head?
No. No. Our pressure is nothing that we would ever use on the neck or the head.
Okay.
It's just for the limbs and the extremity, hands and feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
There's other techniques we would have for, we have a lot of specialized techniques for specialized challenges. Yeah.
Next week, we will be learning about a specific reflex that kind of governs our freeze response, that does govern our freeze response. So we're going to be learning about that. We're also going to be exploring a movement that has to do with our upper body and our limbs, because like we talked about with trauma, we kind of go into our core. And so now as we're building, out with our limbs, we're going to kind of look at how we can go outwards.